In this video, we're talking all about social media. What is it? Do we really need it? And what is a social media detox? Hey, I'm Mark Obey from My Hello Hello, the worldwide contact directory. And today we're going to talk all about social media. What is social media and where does it come from? How many hours are people spending on social media every day? And what is all the hype? And stick around till the end and we'll talk about why Facebook is the #1 social media app and answer the question, should you be doing a social media detox? So let's get started. What is social media? Well, some people have argued that it should really be called social networking. Social media is a way to share information and communicate with others over the internet. Well, okay, what does that mean? For something to be social media, it needs to offer people the option to create content, such as writing or videos or taking photos. To be social media, there needs to be an interactive component. There has to be a way for people to go back and forth and say, comment on something that you've posted. Most social media will also provide the option of creating a profile, which is not a dating profile, although you can create that in other circumstances, but just a general profile, like a biography. And social media sites will vary in terms of how much you can provide for your profile, from being a very elaborate profile to other cases where it's just a very simple and small biography. Finally, social media wouldn't be social networking without some sort of a networking component. Yes, it's interactive, but there also has to be opportunities to connect with people you like and don't like, and to help build your circle of connections. So what is social media? Well, it's basically a computer program, an application. That's where the term social media app comes from. It's a social media application. Now, not all computer applications are social media. For example, the calculator in your desk or on your phone is an application, but it's not social media. It doesn't allow for any opportunities to interact with other people, for you to share content, and for you to build your social network. There are likely millions and maybe billions of computer applications around the world, and that's partly because every electronic that's out there has an application in it. But only a very, very small fraction of those computer applications are actually social media. For example, if you go to the app or Play stores to look at apps, there's about 5 million apps in total. And if you follow what Wikipedia tells you, there's only about 267 notable apps that are considered social media apps available. 267. That's not a lot out of millions and billions. And even out of that 267, there's going to be a very small number that are top social media apps. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. Now, there are different kinds of social media. The only difference between them being that some focus on different aspects of social media than others. So you might have a social media app that's really focused on helping you develop your network, whereas there might be another social media app that's all about creating content, such as videos and photographs. You might have a social media app that's really focused on text, and in some cases those are blogs. And yet in other cases, social media might allow you to curate things that you're interested in, such as fashion and other goods, that you can put on display and share and comment on with others. You might also be familiar with apps that do reviews of restaurants or businesses. These could also be considered social media apps. But where did this all come from? Wasn't there a time when we didn't even have social media? Where do we even get these apps? Believe it or not, there was a time before social media. Prior to the 2000s, most people didn't have cell phones, and computers were seen mostly as something you used for work or gaming. But seriously, things were really different before social media. At home, we watched a lot more television, and we talked on the phone a lot more. Finding information was really hard. You were lucky if you had an up-to-date set of encyclopedias. And there was a lot of time of doing nothing. If you were walking or taking the bus or doing some other kind of travel, organizing to meet people was also a big challenge. You had to pick a specific place and a specific time to meet that person. You couldn't arrive late, and you couldn't pick a general place like, say, meet at the mall to see somebody. People disappeared from your life also. You only really ever had up-to-date information on the people in your close circle, like family and friends and acquaintances. But there were a lot of people who would come and go from your life, and once they were gone, there was really no way to keep track of how they were doing. The history of social media is actually quite simple. Instant messaging did exist prior to the internet in the 1990s, but social media didn't really come on the scene until about the mid-1990s, with websites like GeoCities, Classmates.com, and 6degrees.com. The last one, 6degrees.com, is considered to be the first ever social media app because it was the first one to combine the option of having a friends list and a profile together in one app. In the 2000s, with the widespread adoption of mobile phones, social media became a widespread phenomenon. People could download apps on their phone using the App or Play stores. And of course, on your desktop computers, you could also download these applications in a lot of cases. People would sometimes refer to them as programs. And that brings us to our next big question. Who uses social media? Well, first off, sorry kids, social media isn't an option for you. In fact, most social media applications don't allow kids under 13 to use their apps. That's why YouTube is so popular with kids. It's one of the few that they're actually allowed to use. Now let's talk on a global scale. It's estimated that about half of the world's population uses social media apps, and that usage is a lot higher in wealthier countries. On a daily basis, people spend an average of 2 hours on social media, but consider that there's an average of 4 hours online. People also need to catch up on their sports, weather, news, and celebrity gossip. With all this use of social media, I'm sure there are some people asking the question, are people using social media too much? There are lots of positive reasons for using social media. Researchers show that extroverts actually use social media as a way to add to the socializing they're already doing, whereas introverts who don't do enough socializing use social media to compensate a little bit more for the socializing they aren't doing. Social media can make people feel more included. It opens up more options for friends beyond your own geographic region. It also provides more options if you're searching for romance. It can also be an outlet for creativity, and it's been shown to improve communication skills, social connections, and technical skills. It can also have downsides, like something called social comparison. This is where you compare yourself with others, and because of social media, you do that comparing much more than you realize, being blasted with other people's lives on a daily basis. So with all the social media apps in the world, some of you might be wondering, why? Why? The simple answer is needs. Social media fulfill many human needs, and boy do we have a lot. Love, achievement, contributing. So to better understand how this is happening, let's look at some of the top social media apps and how they might be fulfilling some of your needs. Facebook is without a doubt the most famous and popular social media app. Started in 2004, it now has almost 3 billion users. It's a little bit like a virtual bulletin board. You can post your thoughts on your page or those of others, follow the news, follow famous people, put together an event and invite others, and so much more. YouTube is next in line with over 2 billion users. Started in 2005, it's quite simply a virtual TV. Some of the more popular types of videos are do-it-yourself tutorials, vlogs, comedy, gaming, general information, and unboxing. Yes, unboxing. There are videos, tons of videos of people unboxing things that they've bought. Next, there's Instagram, which is now owned by Facebook. Created in 2010 as a form of virtual photo album, it's grown since then to be, in a lot of ways, like a simpler version of Facebook. It's also the third most popular app to send private messages to other people. LinkedIn, created in 2003, is a virtual resume and now has about 750 million users. TikTok, which really came out of nowhere in the last few years, has about 700 million users now. It was released in 2016, and it's very popular with young people for doing lip syncing, comedy, and dancing videos that are generally about 15 seconds long. Snapchat has been around since 2011 and has about 500 million users. It's an app that allows people to add filters like the famous or infamous puppy dog ears filter. And generally, it is to send messages to people, photographs, text, that typically will disappear after they've been viewed. Twitter. Twitter. Since 2006. the place to get your up-to-date news, gossip, and random thoughts from the world's brilliant and not so brilliant. The app is known for allowing people to post short messages of up to 50 letters, and it's also an important source for quotes from politicians and celebrities. My hello hello. Well, hello. This list wouldn't be complete unless I mentioned the app that supports this YouTube page. My hello hello has the goal of being the one go-to place for contact information worldwide. Whether you're looking for a phone number or somebody's social media accounts, they're all going to be in this one place. Okay, so that leaves us with bonus questions. Why is Facebook the #1 social media app? Well, some people would say that Facebook had first mover advantage, which is when you are the first company to get a product out to market. But that's not really the case, because MySpace and other websites like 6degrees.com already existed when Facebook came out. In fact, there's some other reasons why Facebook came to become so popular. To start, it was actually launched on university campuses and slowly expanded to one after the other. It learned from its competitors, such as not growing too fast and keeping up with the technological infrastructure that was needed. It kept the design simple and made connecting with others easy. They invested in great engineers who were actually building stuff that people wanted. Facebook copied some of the best ideas of social media apps, and in some cases just bought those apps outright. It also innovated when it came to advertising, using people's profiles and their behavior on the app as a way to sell advertising. Some would say that Facebook has also played a really good game of public relations over the years that has brought it a lot more attention and a lot more users. All this talk of social media might be making your head spin. Or maybe you're asking yourself if you need some kind of a social media detox. Yes, this is an actual thing. You can do a social media detox. But is it something for you? Well, maybe yes and maybe no. The data on it is still not in. You heard earlier about some of the advantages and disadvantages of social media, but do you need a social media detox? First, consider again that the average person spends about 2 or 3 hours on social media per day. What would happen if you scaled back that time? Would you just end up watching more TV, reading magazines, and doing other activities that just reflect what you were doing online previously? And like with anything else in your life, ask the following questions. Is my use of social media interfering with my relationships, with my family, my friends, my lovers? Is it affecting the work I do? Is it affecting my goals in life? Is it hurting my health? If you answer yes to any of these questions, then maybe it is time to cut back a bit. At the end of the day, there really is no consensus on how much is too much, so it has to be personal preference. So, if you found this video useful, show your appreciation by helping us build the worldwide contact directory, My Hello Hello. It's free, it's simple, and you control the listing. You can join at myhellohello.com